Welcome back again to another video. Today, I'm just going to be teaching you some simple movements that you can do while using Scratch program. Okay, these are just very easy and simple movements, and the movements are moving forward, moving back, up and down. So if you press the right arrow on your keyboard, okay, the sprite has to move right. If you press left arrow, the sprite has to move left. If you press up arrow, the sprite has to move up, and if you press down arrow, the sprite has to move down. Okay, and for this to happen, what we will do is we will choose a sprite. Okay, this is the background color that the background that I just chose. If you want to change the background, just click down here. We have choose background drop, so you can click and then you can choose any background that you like. Okay, so for me, I just chose blue sky background. You can also change any background that you wish to change or to choose. Okay, and yeah, so for me, I'm gonna stick on the blue screen, the blue sky. That's what I just chose, and that's what you can see. Okay, then down here there is choose a sprite, and this is where you can choose the sprite that you wish to work with. We have so many sprites over here. We have an apple as a sprite, we have a basketball, we have a bat, we have a baseball, bananas, band, all these sprites. It depends on which sprite that you want to choose. And up here we have animal sprite. If you click, you will see animal sprite. We have people. If you click, you'll see different kind of people. We have fantasy. Okay, then dragon. Okay, we have dance. If you want to look for a sprite where someone is dancing, we have music, sports, food, fashion, and letters. Okay, now I'm gonna choose all so that I can select, and for me the sprite that I want to work with is the beetle. Okay, so what you do is you double click on the sprite, and once you double click, it's gonna appear on your stage. This part over here, we call it a stage. Okay, now that is my beetle. Okay, and this beetle, if you can see, we have a place where we call costumes. Okay, if you click on costume, we have only one costume. Okay, if you want to have two costumes, you can right click and click duplicate. You can have the second costume, you can click duplicate, and you can have the third costume. Okay, but I'm just gonna pick only two costumes, okay, for now. Okay, then let's click back to the code, go back to your code. Okay, so the first step, I want this sprite to move forward. I want this sprite to move. When I press my right arrow, I want the sprite to move forward. And how do I achieve that? Very easy. Okay, we have these blocks over here. We have the motion blocks, we have the looks blocks, we have the sound blocks. If you watch my first video, I have explained all these blocks. Okay, so what I want you to do is I want you to click on the event block, and I want you to choose when the space key pressed. Okay, the space key is the long key on your keyboard. Okay, but I don't want to use the space key. So if you don't want to use the space key, down here we have an arrow that if you click, it will bring down all the keys that are found inside this block. Okay, so we have the space, we have up, we have down, we have right, we have left, any, A, B, C, and D. Okay, all the way down. Okay, now for us, we want our sprite to move right. How do we do that? So you click on the right arrow. So you say when right arrow key is pressed, this sprite has to move forward. But that's not enough, okay, because it just shows when the right arrow key is pressed, but we have to be able to show that it's moving. So you click on the motion block and then drag the motion, move 10 steps, okay, move 10 steps. So when I click on this green flag over here, okay, it's gonna be able to move 10 steps, okay, but for us to be able to achieve this effect well, okay, when I press the right arrow, okay, this sprite has to point in the direction that I just pressed. And how do I do that? I just select this point in direction 90 degrees, okay. So when the right arrow key is pressed, the sprite has to point 90 degrees and move 10 steps, okay. So if I press the right arrow, you see it's pointing 90 degrees and it's moving 10 steps, okay. Okay, so once you get to the far end, you're like, so how can I make this beetle to change the direction? Because when I keep pressing the right arrow, it's not moving. That means the beetle has reached the end. But I want it to change direction and start moving on an opposite direction. So the same thing you will do is just click on event and then click when the space key is pressed. But right now we will choose the left arrow. Okay, so when the left arrow is pressed, point in direction, because when you go this side, this is plus, positive. When you move to the other side, it becomes negative. So what I want you to do is, I want you to put a negative sign here. Okay, you can put a minus sign over there and it will show that it's moving on your left. Okay, or you can also use this clock over here, the round, it shows the degrees. Okay, so if you can see that it was there, point in direction 90, but we want it to move on the left side, so we will put it to negative 90. Then we want it to move 10 steps. Okay, so let's try. Okay, so let's click on the left arrow. So once you click on the left arrow, the sprite will point to the direction that you clicked. Okay, and when you press on the left arrow, you see the beetle is moving. If you press on the right arrow again, the beetle is moving. If you press left, it's moving. Red, light, left, right. Okay, this is left and then this is right. Okay, so that's how you achieve the left arrow and the right arrow. Okay, that's how you do it. So we want also this sprite to be able to move up. Okay, we want it to be able to move up. So how do you do that? Again, click on event, then click on when you press up arrow. Okay, the motion is supposed to be, you need to point to the direction, okay, where you just pressed. If you pressed up, you need to point direction. And if you click on the degrees, if you just move your pointer all the way up, it's gonna be 0 degrees. So it means that this means it's going up. Okay, so after that, drag your move block 10 steps. Okay, and so yeah, so if you press on the up arrow, your sprite will move up. Then if you press on left, I mean, your sprite will move left. If you press on right, your sprite will move right. Okay, so we want also this sprite to be able to move down. Okay, so how do we do that? You just click on event, okay, and drag when the down arrow is pressed. Okay, point direction to, if you click on the degrees, if you point direction, it's gonna point direction to 180, so it means that it's moving down. Okay, so once you click that, then move 10 steps down, just like that. So it's gonna be right, left, down, up. Okay, it's as simple as that. So when you click your keyboard, it's gonna be right, left, down, and up. Okay, see how easy that is? So these are the chords that are used when you want your beetle to move. Okay, but as you can see, when you're moving your beetle, the legs are not moving. It doesn't look like the beetle is moving. Okay, it doesn't look like the beetle is moving. So let's go back here to costume. Remember, we duplicated our costume, so I want you to click on the second costume, and using the arrow, okay, I want you to select these legs, and I want you to push them in front, just a little bit in front. Okay, just push them in front, push them in front. Okay, push the body too, so push the legs in front. We are creating movement, okay, on the beetle. So there we go. So yep, there we go. So let me show you something. So once I click on the first costume, you will see that it looks like it's moving. Okay, and once I click on the second, there is a movement happening. So it looks like the beetle is moving its legs front and back. Okay, so for us to achieve that effect, okay, so what you have to do is, I want you to click on the looks. Okay, then I want you to click on next costume. Okay, the next costume is over here. So this is the first costume, costume 1, and this is costume 2. So these are costumes. Okay, so just go straight to the look block, and then I want you to select the next costume. Okay, so when the right arrow is pressed, I want it to change to the next costume. Okay, but how many seconds does it need to change from one costume to another? So it has to wait for probably 1 second. Okay, or let's just say 0.1 second. Okay, before it changes to the next costume. And if it changes to the next costume, it's supposed to point the 90 degrees to the direction where you pressed, and then it has to move 10 steps. So let's do that. So once you press, okay, we're here. So press, you see the legs looks like they are moving now. Okay, so let's press the right key again. Looks like the legs are moving now. Okay, so the same effect you need to apply over here. Okay, so looks, next. Okay, then event, you have to choose how many minutes, wait, 0.1. so we will have to apply this code to the other chords, okay, to the other movements. So the same thing I want you to do again is click on looks, next costume. Okay, and then I want you to choose how many seconds does it have to wait. It has to wait for 0.1 second. Then the last one, same thing, click on the next costume, drag it over there, and it has to wait for how many seconds? 0.1 seconds too. So it's 0.1 second. Okay, so now let's try and see if the beetle will change its costume. So if you click on the right, you can see that there is some movement. Okay, if you click up, you can see that the legs are moving. If you click down, you can see the legs are moving. If you click right, you can see that the legs are moving. Okay, let's make this movement to be a little bit visible. So click here like that, because you can't really see if the beetle is moving. So okay, so there we go. There we go. Okay, so we want to, okay, then let's see. So you can see, exactly, you can see that the beetle is moving now. Look, if I press right, if I press up, if I press down, and if I press right again. So yeah, so that's it for today. Okay, so I just taught you how to change the costumes. I taught you how to change the costume. I taught you how to code your beetle to move to the right, to the left, down and up. Okay, if you have any question, please you can text me, okay, or you can let me know so that I can try and clarify any question that you've been having. Anyway, thank you so much. I'll see you next time.